Hello, guys. Welcome to Gen Speaks podcast series. I know it's been quite a long time since we've done a podcast, but trust me, this episode is going to be a really great one. We have a very special guest with us today. He's none other than Mr. Charan Lakkaraju. So, Mr. Charan Lakkaraju is the CEO of Stumagz and also got listed under Forbes 30 under 30 Asia. So, hello, sir. How are you? How are you doing?
Hi, man. Nice to see you, and would love to speak on Gen Speaks today. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. So I'll refer to you as Mr. Charan. I'll try to be as
You can call me Charan too. That's the Gen Z should understand something like the sir quality should go off. Enough of calling someone sir and all these things. Again, I feel it's better to call with name, and that's the culture you have to learn in the corporate. Or you can call with some annotation. If you are comfortable, you can call me brother or whatever it is. I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. So, it's very important to break the ice between, and I guess sir is something that acts as a barrier.
Absolutely.
So when I was going through your LinkedIn profile, Forbes 30 under 30 Asia. That's like a very big thing for any entrepreneur out there or anybody out there. So how was the journey? How did you reach till there? What was your reaction when you saw Forbes 30 under 30?
To be very honest, we all strive or fight for identity. It's the whole purpose of your life is to create a name for the name which your parents gave. And that whole identity factor is what driven me to start a company. Even the Forbes has just accelerated it. And it has given me some kind of an happiness. Beyond the title, again, because before you become something, you have to become something.
True.
And the becoming something is a process, and it's not a destination. You're not satisfied. But the whole funda there, it was like the day it was. I still remember the day. It was March 26th, around 2018, when we were listed. Fortunately, the culture of Hyderabad, in most of them, were not into those lists. They were not getting listed, but we took that brave step. We said, we want to build a global student platform. Why should not we be part of it? And it was always that I was aspirational, that I want to be part of it. More than I want to be part of it for the students who are like us, because I studied in an affiliated college to a university in Hyderabad. There was a very big identity crisis. Like, whom do you belong to? You belong to a tier 2 college, but you don't want to bog yourself down. And in your +2, you are sitting with someone who just got into a premier institute because of a reservation. And you feel that you are far better than that kid. And the kind of opportunities you get are not the way people get it. The same thing happens in US too. True. So I was just reading something in US. Ivy Leaguers are treated in a different way. Non-Ivy League students are treated in a different way. The same thing in India, it happens the same thing. If you are from IIT, I'll talk to you. If you are not from IIT, I don't want to talk to you.
True.
And these identities like Forbes and other things tell you that you also have something in you. As simple as that. Yeah.
Wow. So since we were talking on the topic of reservation, so what is your view on that? Should Indian education system need it right now? Because, it's been more than 70 to 60 years since the reservation started and everything. So what's your view on that?
See, it's like the most sensitive topics are not spoken in a sensible manner in India. Because they always want them to be a taboo where you don't talk about it, and it becomes a bigger taboo than what it is. Let's use to say, reserve. No, the whole word reserve comes from the reserve. I have to serve the person who is marginalized. But trust me, the whole point after 60, 70 years, the creamy layer which is happening is not being filtered. Most of them are utilizing it. Some of them are voluntarily giving off the reservation, saying that I'll fight in the main category. With all due respect, a salute to them.
Exactly.
But some generations in the backyard, let's say, if some forefathers have enjoyed well, it means that their great-grandsons have to bog down. That's our society. Because their forefathers have gone through some tough times, their great-grandsons are having fun with it. But it doesn't mean that someone is having fun. So I always talk about economy or economical-based reservations too. That helps things to propel. But who is deciding the economical based reservation? And again, the larger size of a country like us, we make a mockery of our own system. The moment you put an economical reservation system, the typical real estate guy goes to a local MRO office and gets a certificate that my income is less than 60,000 and claims benefit. So where is it? It is all going to end. The only thing which I personally feel, some radical measures like what is the profession of the father? What is his last IT returns? Why can't we talk about someone's last income tax returns? What is he filing? Or what is his profession? Can't we, a college, when someone is coming or someone is writing an entrance test, gather some details like some salary slips or some professional or something? If you are a shop guy or a business guy, you pay GST, right? That's the funniest part. If you gather this data, because reservations should be there, but for right people.
Got it. So now, since we're talking about the money part, you see now most in the middle class Indian households, the parents don't let students know or their kids know about the money. You know, we have this much and all. And you know, if you see from the Western perspective, it is different again. So you know, should parents not tell their children about their family income or anything? What is your opinion on that?
I feel the one thing which, like, let's say as a father today, I have a kid who is close to 7 years now. The first thing which I'm gonna do after 9 years or 10 years, from 10 at least, the only literacy that someone should have is financial literacy. Time versus money. You know, am I giving some time to you? Then what am I getting through that? Because is my time valuable or not? The first thing when I came here, I said apologies that I'm delayed with a certain time because I have to respect your time. Neither someone should not take your time for granted. And that's what is happening. Why are people looking at alternate professions? Why are people trying to keep themselves busy with different things? Because they feel that their time is not valued and they have to utilize their time well. When you start knowing your time, how to utilize it, and then proportionately you start knowing how to utilize money too.
Okay.
Because your money and time are something which go hand in hand. Someone who respects time respects money. Someone who respects money respects time. A student at an age of 10 to 11 should start respecting what it is and where is that money coming from, what is my status, and how should I improve. And most of the times, such things will bring in the fear factor inside him, making him understand what is the value of every rupee which he's going to spend. And parents should talk about it, not over talk about it. There's a thin line, but you talk about it. You explain the value of it. Unless you explain the value of it, someone, how does they know? How do they know? They don't. Yeah.
Wow, that's very insightful. So, about you, how were your backgrounds? How did you start off? Which college did you go? Did you ever bunk, or did you have any backlogs? So about that.
I wish I had. I never had a backlog thanks to my good, beautiful handwriting, which I had. So, it's like, it was, even as a regular engineering student, अंदर का अनपिछनट नाक गुड अनपिछन. You have to get it. चलो एक बार भी मेरे को भी बोलना है that I have one backlog. But again, I studied in a very normal engineering college. Obviously, when you're good at math, you have to take MPC in +1. And when you take MPC, you aspire for something like an IIT or an NIT in those days. You often miss out because suddenly from the proper schooling system, you get into a competitive thing in your +1, +2, where you are just put a test and you are there in a bunch of 26 best people as a fast track batch. And out of 26 people, here is one person who comes from a background who never wrote a competitive exam till then, except his 10th class exam. And the other 25 people, or 20 people at least, if not all, other 20 people were prepping for IIT from their 8th standard, and they know what's gonna be taught in the class. And here you are running the race from 0 kilometers, where someone is running the race from the 5 kilometer or 10 kilometer milestone. And you accept defeat after a point of time. So I disqualified in chemistry, and then I had no option but because it was not being allowed in a middle class family. Can't afford one more year, because I studied my intermediate for free because of my 10th marks. And my father said, whatever you, and he used one line which I keep saying, if you are a brand, you don't require a brand. And that was a boon. It would have become a bane.
Exactly.
But I took it up, and then he made me join a local engineering college. He said, like, you can prepare for IIT next year, but it didn't happen. That once you get into the groove of a local engineering college, not to mention, it's not worth mentioning the college which I studied too, but wherever I studied, it was a place which has taught me how not to be, not how to be. And that made me think, taught the most important lessons of my life, that if you are like talented and you have to go to different colleges, different IITs, presented papers, started winning, the only good thing happened is I gathered few good people over the journey. Thanks to college, because I met a head of the department who was kind enough to give me attendance whenever I was not going to the college. When I said whenever, it was 50% of the time. So when he was so kind enough to tell me, like, you bring a certificate, you bring a cash prize, you bring a prize, we will add to our kitty that our student won it. And my job, or my only KPI, was like, you have to win whatever it takes. Due to this, I built a network across India, and the same network is being leveraged by me today when I'm 34.
Wow.
The kind of network is like people in a single college, they remain to a single college.
Exactly.
And you hardly know anyone. Today, even when I run Tribe, I get guests from IITs, I get guests from NITs. Those who all are entrepreneurs today, I am just one call away from many of them.
Wow. Wow. I have a small perspective regarding this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Most of the people, when they get into a tier 3 or tier 2 college, they feel like it's a bane, like you've said. But my perspective is looking at from this side, instead of us being a part of a legacy, we'll get a chance to create our own legacy in this college.
Absolutely. It's, like the issue is, opportunity ka chudochu. The moment you see something as an opportunity, that's fair. See, as you rightly said, you said, like, correct me if I'm wrong. The first thing which I wanted to speak on is there is nothing called wrong or nothing called right. It is about what is right to you, what is wrong to you.
Exactly.
But when something is right to you, when you go there and dig a deeper dive there, these tier 2, tier 3 colleges, even you want to own them, they don't allow you to own them. The problem is, the moment you start owning those colleges, it's as if they're an ancestral property, and the next Sion feels like this guy is getting more popular in this college, and they make, let's say you start a student club, you want to do something, you want to create a radical stuff. Next day, the one student who hates you starts another club, and the college tries to mushroom, tries to water that club, and they make these two clubs fight with each other, and they start smiling upstairs.
Right.
Because we got so used to divide and rule. And your whole life of 4 years of your college will end up in fighting the internal battles, not growing beyond the college, which was the purpose. That's what happens in an Indian middle class also. They ensure that you keep on fighting within your families, so everyone else is happy. The lower class is happy because they know that they can't dream. The higher class is happy because they know there is nothing more. The middle class is confused. They want you to be middle class. So the first thing, how do you stop fighting internally? That's where you start seeing tomorrow.
Right.
Simple example, when we started a student platform across colleges, people said, like, we are doing an event or whatever it is. Neither I'm an event management company and want to do events here.
Exactly.
The purpose of the event is to bring everyone together, so that we have to bring that community feeling. Even the community word has unity in it.
Yes.
How to bring everyone. And one of the college students says, "Are mana fest kante ekko chirra Are baba, this is fest for everyone." It has to become a festival, but it has stopped at T. That is fest.
Fest.
And in that fest, there is no zest. The moment someone has that enthusiasm, the other guy fizzles it out.
Exactly.
Because he says like, next year when I am the head, I'll make it bigger. The next year will never come. Because there's always someone who is seeing you, the way you behave.
Exactly. So, the whole point of, bringing together people is so that, you can develop a huge network and you can meet a lot of people. So I guess that is where the idea of Stumagz came into your head.
Absolutely. See, always I say like, if you want to fight the toughest guy, the weak guys have to get together.
Right.
So if you want to fight an elephant, all the ants should get good together. I always say like, we should not overestimate ourselves. I know that I'm an average guy. I'm happy to be an average guy. Because I know average guys getting together, there's always a scope for improvement rather than the smart guys getting together because they fight with each other. So here there's a kind of a group of average guys everywhere where there is a delta difference in their life. So I'm more happy with that. That's what we keep telling in the tribe too. Come down, spend some time. What do you get out of it? Nothing, but you go back happily that you feel better.
Wow. Nice. That's an amazing perspective.
So it's like at least you feel better. Now you do this podcast. Someone asked me, "Emostundra? This podcast, add video, add camera, idantha మైకులు పెద్ద మైకులు తెచ్చిపెట్టిరు ఎందుకు పైసలు ఖర్చు పెడుతురు ఇవన్నీ సండే రోజు మనుషులు ఇంట్లో వండుకొని ఓటీటీ చూడక." బట్ ద పాయింట్ ఏమొస్తుందిరా అంటే నువ్వు ఏం చేయకపోతే నీకేమొస్తుంది.
ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ.
అండ్ నేనేదో చేసుకుంటే నీకేం
వస్తుంది అదే కదా.
So the whole funda is like people need to understand that ఒక అవుట్ ఆఫ్ ద వే పోయి చేస్తోని చేయనియరు. రేపైతే మనోడు అయింది తెలుసా, నేను వాడు ఒకటే కాలేజ్ చదువుతుండే, ఇప్పుడు 3 million సబ్స్క్రైబర్స్ వానికి. అయిన తర్వాత 2 million 1 million తర్వాత మనోడు, లేకపోతే కానోడు, లేకపోతే గాలోడు. So the whole funda is nobody wants to enjoy the process. They want to enjoy the destination.
Right. So now talking about Stumagz, what are your future plans as of now? Right now.
See, after COVID stopped planning much for future because you don't know what's future in a quarter. The next few quarters we are looking at how to be an Indian student platform rather than being a Telugu student platform or a South Indian platform. And we are looking to build a team and ammunition with smart guys, people like you or people like someone who wants to give their 18 months or 24 months and they say like, boss, let's build that world or global platform out of India. And even putting all these efforts to do different events or community meetups is to spot good talent so that they understand that they are part of something big. And that's where the whole effort is, to build a great, solid, young, youthful team. What happens in the Silicon Valley, why can't it happen out of our Deccan Plateau here?
Exactly.
So it's like because we are so passionate about valleys and the plateaus are also more cooler. Yeah.
So, since we were talking about, average and, having all a huge community of students. So what do you think is, the problem with, the students right now? Like, a lot of these people have this comfort zone mindset that they don't want to get out of it. So
it's not about comfort zone. They don't know what to do. They feel that being in a stalemate is always better. But someone is confused. They don't want to celebrate that confusion. It's okay to be confused is the first statement that someone needs to understand. Now someone is getting participated. Why should he be thinking too much? Like, now someone, you said like, we are forming this team, and he said like, people are there like, chalo, I'm forming a team, and your good friend behind the camera says like, why should I be part of the team? Will it become successful? If he starts procrastinating it, he can't even do this, right?
Exactly.
The same thing happens to student. If he is confused, it's okay to be confused.
Right.
And the second point, which I keep telling a lot of students, what is the delta improvement today? Why are you worried about tomorrow? Why are you worried about next year? ఫైనల్ ఇయర్లో ఖచ్చితంగా చేద్దాం రా, ఫస్ట్ ఇయర్లో ఎందుకు రా ఇవన్నీ నీకు, సెకండ్ ఇయర్లో ఫైనల్ ఇయర్లో చేద్దాం. ద హోల్ ఫండా ఈజ్ లైక్ వై డోంట్ వాంట్ టు టుడే.
Right.
And when you start talking about doing things rather than talking about them, when we started Student Tribe as an offline meetup in July or June ending, there were hardly 4 people. And the person who was there helping us with samosas and everything, he just said like, Ananu, 20 samosal తెప్పించినావు అన్నా. నలుగురే వచ్చారు. అరే 5 తిందాం కదా.
కరెక్టే కదా.
నువ్వు తక్కువ మంది ఉంటే నువ్వు అట్లీస్ట్ ఈ 4 సక్సెస్ అయితే నువ్వు బెటరే కదా. నెక్స్ట్ మీటింగ్ 12 लोग आए. 10th meeting we were 1500 people.
Right.
And when we had a year end, we ended it on a 2000 people. But if I would have disappointed with 4 people, how can I reach 2000?
Correct.
And today when people talk about opportunities, getting something, today we launched our own cricket team. And we are playing a corporate team. And someone asked, which college team? I said, Tribe. The whole funda is when there is no identity, create identity.
Right.
If someone says, like yesterday I used one line, who you want to be, what background you have. I said, we want to be the family background that anybody who doesn't have a background. If so many people are talking about which background they have, let us be the background which knows a person to a person who doesn't have a background.
Right. Works. That's perfect. That's very well, that you've put it. So also now again, in terms of student mindset only, now there's a toxic culture also coming. You have to grind every day, a hustle culture, and it's getting very toxic day by day. You have this, the top G mentality, and it's trending on Instagram these days. So what is your view on that? This hustle culture and everything.
See, again, even someone has to understand that if you are not able to be yourself, the whole funda is like, I was writing some word, tribe, TRIB, tribe yourself, be yourself, try being yourself.
Yeah.
Tribe always teaches someone, try being yourself.
Right.
And what is being yourself? When you want to be yourself, first you should know who is yourself.
Exactly.
And in this process, if someone, let's say the only problem is if you are doing a podcast, it doesn't mean that I have to start a podcast.
Yeah, true.
And that's where the problem is. My problem, if I'm not able to analyze myself well, that's where the whole problem starts. Because the whole toxic culture comes in when you start comparing with other person. It's not wrong to hustle. But the whole question here is, are you ready to hustle? But if you are hustling for what? Get that clarity. It's like, I know how to ride a bike. Okay, you start riding it. Enjoy the process of riding. Why are you worried about where you have to go?
Right.
After a point of time, you figure it out. There are 2 ways. Either fuel will be over. You know that, okay, fuel indicator is showing. I have to stop somewhere or get a refuel. You start thinking, right?
Right.
And that is the common sense that someone can't teach you. The fuel in your bike is visible only to you. How much you need to hustle? What are the resources that you have? I'm analogy here. I'm trying to give the analogy of the fuel to the energy inside you here.
Yes.
How much you are stretching? Can you go faster? Can you handle it? Life is all about riding a bike, right? If you want, you can go 90 kilometers per hour. But are you going on a Beamer or a Honda Splendor? You should know which vehicle can take it up.
Right.
A Royal Enfield can take up to 100 kilometers per hour. It's okay. It doesn't go, the throttle is fine.
Exactly.
But if you are going the same 100 kilometers per hour on a Splendor or a moped, the parts will go off.
Exactly.
The same thing applies to hustling also.
Right.
That's where the whole toxic thing starts up.
True. Also now, okay, fine. I'll ask you a very direct question. Motivation versus discipline. What do you think? Which one do you think wins, or which one should prevail?
See, I feel that motivated to get disciplined is better. It's not neither motivation, neither discipline.
But how?
I'll tell you, it's not a rocket science to make it complex. These days, we made a lot of things complex and then solve it. and tell that I brought a solution to something. These are all jargon first. I keep telling, like, if you do something in a repeated manner, people say that I want to have new experience every day. People say, like, I want to try something new every day. But again, doing the repeated thing itself is life. But what is a variable? You have to decide.
Exactly.
I love doing podcast. I'm bored doing podcast. Both are same.
Both are same.
But you have to understand that the discipline here is how do you derive the fun from it?
Right.
How do you derive the fun from it? What is the motivation in discipline? Am I doing the same thing again and again and again? But you take any great startup also, it all starts with a wonderful idea, but after the point of time, it is the same routine thing. Because doing 80% routine itself makes any company survive. Only
Exactly.
20% is the experiment. You can't do 80% experiment and 20% routine. And what's your routine? Who defines it? You.
Me. Yeah, exactly.
And that routine, once you define that routine, the motivation is to only for the 20% to try out something new so that you can try something and whichever works, put them back into the routine and disciplinedly do it.
It's like an experiment.
The 20% is what you keep trying out something new.
Right.
I keep telling in the relationships also, right? You can't keep trying everyone out, right?
Yeah.
The whole funda is that's where you lose the fizz in it.
Exactly. Right. So since, okay, now a small shift, now towards, the mental health side. You see now, for example, my grandfather, he had 5 brothers, 1 sister, he had 4 sons, and, he was from a very, low state economically, but then he got them all up, andarki pellillu chesadu, everything went well, and he's perfectly healthy and fit right now. But then now the Gen Z, especially right now, they have a minor problem, and they are going, it's going very bizarre these days, depression and everything, it's going up like, like a rocket, and if you see it down the next 10 to 20 years, it's going to be very scary. So is mental, what is your take on mental health?
Again, see, I've been talking about this multiple times with multiple different people. My views don't change. I always say only one thing. We make something's bigger. We make something. They exist.
They exist, yeah.
They exist. But it's all about you magnify them. You want to solve them. A lot of people, as I said before, I want to solve, so I make a problem more complicated, then solve it. That's where the whole problem is. And the second thing, everybody is an expert. That's a problem because the information is available to you these days at free of cost.
Right.
People say like, there were kids who were growing up. Now, how much ever research which happens, you derive a lot of research and then you start putting every other thing as a syndrome.
Right.
You didn't even know that was something called a syndrome before. So should you be worried? Like, let's say I have a young small kid, he keeps, playing with wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And one neighbor came to me and she was saying like, can't you think that he's different? I said, what? He's playing with a wheel, but he's repeating the same action again and again. I see, why are you seeing it with a magnifying glass?
Exactly.
Let him be what he is, right? It's okay to be sad, but every sad is not depressed. How can you differentiate? What is the activity? Are you putting something under the observation? Is there any repetition of activity through a phase? But today, at the first instance itself, it's almost like I am getting headache. Where is Dolo? Where is the Dolo? I have to put a Brufen. Immediately. I'm not even allowing, am I having a bad day? Or did I eat something bad? I'm not thinking, I want a medicine immediately. The same thing is happening that to the mental health today.
Right.
He is in just an initial stage, but you want a medicine or a surgery. It's almost like some things can be cured by a basic exercise. You want an open heart surgery for your heart.
Yeah.
Now the whole mental health part, it depends who is the right mentor talking to you. Otherwise, it's going haywire. And who are you talking about it? Are you talking to an expert about it? Are you talking to a novice about it? Are you talking to a Google expert about it?
Right.
Please talk to right people. And more than someone suffering from a mental health, it's the other person who has to spot it, not the person himself will talk about it. Because it's not like, these days I see people say, "Arey, I am depressed." How can you know that you are depressed?
The other person has to tell you.
The other person has to say that you are looking depressing. It's not about the person saying I am depressed, because he read that these are the behavior patterns from some article on Google saying that these are the behavioral patterns where it means that you are depressed. And that person wrote a SEO article. 5 reasons to know that you are depressed. Some content writer where the SEO was done properly, it's on the Google. ఈడగా సెల్ఫ్ అక్లెయిమ్డ్ ఎక్స్పర్ట్ ఆడప్పుడే స్టార్ట్ చేస్తాడు, మామ నేను డిప్రెషన్లో ఉంటా, అదో సింపతి, కొంచెం జీపే వేస్తా, కొంచెం డిప్రెషన్ అంటే జీపే తోడు పోతుంది.
కరెక్ట్గా.
సో ఇట్స్ లైక్ దే డోంట్ ఈవెన్ నో దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ డిప్రెషన్.
సో ఇలానే if you look at from this perspective, there's something called as the normalized culture. Normalize everything. This normalized. And also ఇప్పుడు I feel like this normalization culture, after one point of time there won't be any identity to anything.
అదే నార్మలైజ్, అనలైజ్, ఇవన్నీ ఏంటంటే అన్నిటిని గలీజ్ చేసినాయి బేసిక్గా. ఇప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ సింపుల్గా బతికేటోని బతకనియరు అని కాంప్లికేట్ చేయాలా, కాంప్లికేట్ చేసి ఏవేవో పదాలు వాడుతున్నారు, ఏవేవో చేస్తున్నారు. అక్కడ ఏమైపోతుందంటే టూ మచ్ ఆఫ్ కన్జంప్షన్ ఆఫ్ కాంటెంట్ అవుతుంది. ఇప్పుడు ఇదే అవుతుంది. ఇప్పుడు నేను మాట్లాడుతున్నాను, నేను ఏం లేదురా సింపుల్ ఇది అని నేను చెప్తే కూడా చల్ ఎట్లయితుంది, అట్లా కాదు అనే కంపెనీ పెట్టినా నువ్వు పెట్టలే అంటే ఏదైనా కానీ వాళ్ళకి కాంప్లికేట్ కావాలి.
కాంప్లికేట్ ఉంటేనే ఆథెంటిక్.
అంటే సింపుల్ని కూడా మళ్ళీ బాగా అమ్ముకోవచ్చు కదా.
కరెక్ట్. యా ట్రూ. సో now moving to the other part, mentorship. Most of the students want it, most of the students need it as well. But then, they don't know how to approach a particular person. For example, you're there. You've mentored more than, thousands of students right now. So, how do you ask a person for mentorship? In a very simple manner. And also, do first impressions exist while asking?
అట్లానే ఏం లేదు, బట్ అగైన్ ఇట్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ ద అదర్ పర్సన్ ఆల్సో. ఆర్ యూ చూసింగ్ ఎ రైట్ మెంటర్ ఆల్సో మ్యాటర్స్ ఎ లాట్.
Okay, how do you choose a right mentor then?
Again, who is giving you time?
Right.
Who is giving you time? That's the costliest thing, because that's the respect that he is showing to you. And more than, someone asked me how to ask. I said ask. The basic thing is ask. ఎందుకంటే మన దగ్గర ఇక మళ్ళీ వాడు రాసుకుంటాడు, ఐఎమ్ అన్ ఇంట్రోవర్ట్. ఇక నాకు వస్తే ఇన్స్టాగ్రామ్లో మెసేజ్లు, ఐఎమ్ అన్ ఇంట్రోవర్ట్, ఐఎమ్ అన్ ambivert, ఐఎమ్ ఎక్స్ట్రోవర్ట్, ఐఎమ్ ఎ పర్వర్ట్. వాట్ ఏ వర్ట్ అయితే ఎట్ ద ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ద డే, ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ something which is bothering you, you should know someone to talk to.
Right.
And when you start talking to the other person, at least you will know, right?
Right.
And you judge. It's okay.
It's fine.
And but whom are you talking to? నా దగ్గరికి వచ్చి సీరియస్గా ఈ మెడికల్ ఫినామినా గురించి చెప్పంటే నాకేం తెలుసు.
కరెక్ట్గా.
అండ్ ఇంకోటి ఎవడన్నా నాకు తెలియదు అంటే అట్లా ఎట్లుంటుందో, నీకెట్లా తెలియకుండా ఎట్లుంటుంది. ఇంకోటి తీసుకునేది కూడా ఉండాలి కదా, ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ తీసుకునేది తెలివని ఉండాలి. అరే స్టార్టప్ ఐడియా వర్కౌట్ కాదురా అని చెప్తే నీకు జలసా, నీకు నేను చేస్తుంటే అరే బాబా ఇన్రా ఫస్ట్ అంటే. పీపుల్ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు లిజన్ టు ఫీడ్బ్యాక్. ఆ ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ కూడా ఇక్కడ ఎంత మోతాదులు ఉంది, అది ఎవరు ఇస్తుర్రు, అది కూడా ఇంపార్టెంట్ కదా. ఆ ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ చెప్పే పర్సన్ కొంచెం ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ తోటే చెప్తాడు కదా,
అంతే.
లేకపోతే వాడిని ఏం ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ చేసింది, వాడి మైండ్లో ఏముంది అదన్నా కనుక్కో.
కరెక్ట్.
ఆర్ ఇద్దరు ముగ్గురిని అడుగు, నువ్వు జడ్జ్ చేసుకో.
వర్క్స్.
ఏదైతే ఏంది అస్సలు రిలేటెడ్ పీపుల్ కాకుండా ముగ్గురు డిఫరెంట్ పీపుల్ని అడుగు, నీకు ఆ జడ్జ్మెంట్ థియరీ అయినా రావాలి కదా, లేకపోతే ఒక్కడైనా నమ్ము.
అందరిని నమ్మి ఎవరిని నమ్మకుండా అయిపోతుంది. కరెక్ట్. యూఆర్ రైట్. సో When I wanted to meet you, I had this one question in my head that I wanted to ask. What is your biggest failure?
ఏం వస్తున్నాయి ఒకటి చాలా
ఒకటి.
అంటే లిటరలీ ఇంకా నా బిగ్గెస్ట్ ఫెయిల్యూర్ ఇంకా అనుకునేది ఏంటి అంటే ఐఎమ్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు రీచ్ యాజ్ మెనీ పీపుల్ telling that it is okay to be normal, it is okay that you can be a bigger achiever, and it is okay that I can instill confidence in you that you can become something. అది ఇంకా చాలా మందికి చెప్దాం అనుకుంటే ఇంకా రీచ్ అవుతలేను. అదే ఫెయిల్ అవుతుంటా, మళ్ళీ ఫెయిల్ అవుతుంటా. ఎక్కడంటే వాడు వాళ్ళ ఇంట్లోతోటి పాస్ కాడు, వాడికి ఏదో ఒక ₹4 ఎక్కువ జీతం వస్తే మళ్ళీ వాడికి తెలుసు అది వాళ్ళు అతుకోరు పని, మళ్ళీ పోయి అదే జాబ్లో జాయిన్ అవుతాడు. అరే రారా స్టార్టప్లో పని అంటే ఐఎమ్ ఫెయిలింగ్ ఇన్ ఫార్మింగ్ ఎ గ్రేట్ టీమ్. I'm learning it. I'm just fingers crossed. ఎలాంటి గ్రేట్ టీమ్. ఇంకోటి ఏమైతే స్మార్ట్ పీపుల్ ఎవడు వాడు కంపెనీలు పెట్టుకున్నారు, ఒక దగ్గర ఉండరు, ఒకరికొకరు హెల్ప్ చేసుకోరు. దట్ ఈస్ వన్ థింగ్ విచ్ ఇస్ బాదరింగ్ మీ. బట్ చలో, we keep trying at it.
Not to sugarcoat you or anything, to be very honest, if you're looking outside in Instagram gani, Google gani, anywhere, the biggest student community is Stumagz itself, the student tribe and whatnot. So I guess I won't say it as a biggest failure or anything, or at least regarding you, but then you are doing extremely well at what you're doing right now.
అంటే చేస్తున్నా అని చెప్పుకోవడం కూడా కష్టమైన పని కదా. ఐఎమ్ ఫెయిలింగ్ ఎట్ దాట్. ఇట్స్ లైక్ ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు ఉన్నావు, ద పాయింట్ ఇస్ యూ గాట్ టు నో రీసెంట్లీ అండ్ యూ స్టార్టెడ్. ద పాయింట్ ఇస్ నీ సీనియర్లకు వీళ్ళు చెప్పినప్పుడు అరే పలానా వాడు అంటే అరే వాడు మంచిగా మాట్లాడతాడు, ముచ్చట మంచి చెప్తాడు, మన కాలేజ్కి వచ్చిండు ఒకసారి, మీ కాలేజీలో ఏం బాగుందంటే గడి బాగుంది అన్నాడు. So it's like that's what I said when I was in the college. So I said like, if people remember, that was I said like G ante green, G ante Geeta, G ante Gaddan. So the point when I told these lines. So right. The funda is, how can someone talk like that in the college? Ochi ante, I told this might be the last time that someone will invite me to a college. That's okay.
That's okay.
The whole point why I carry that attitude is not to look cooler, but to tell others that you can live a life like this.
Right.
Still survive. Not to sugarcoat and be, licking someone's boots.
Right.
So you can be yourself. It's not tough. When an ordinary person like me can achieve something or relatively something,
right,
others can dream about something.
కరెక్ట్.
చెప్తుంటారు నేను చాలా మందికి, కెన్ జాయిన్ అ టీమ్ అండ్ స్టఫ్. ఫెయిల్ అయితే ఏమవుతుందిరా, ఐఎస్బీలో సీట్ వస్తుంది. దట్స్ వాట్ ఐ కీప్ టెలింగ్. స్టార్ట్అప్ చేయి, ఫెయిల్ అయితే ఐఎస్బీలో సీట్ వస్తుంది. తర్వాత ఎట్లా ట్రై చేసినావు కదా, ఐఎస్బీలో జాయిన్ అయిన తర్వాత ఒక జాబ్ చేసుకో. ఐఎస్బీ స్టేట్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ పర్పస్లో రాయి, ఐ ఫెయిల్డ్ ఇన్ ద స్టార్ట్అప్, నీ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ టీచ్ మీ హౌ టు డూ బిజినెస్ అని ఒక లెటర్ రాయి. వాడు రిజెక్ట్ చేసి ఇంకో మళ్ళీ ఇంకో లెటర్ రాయి, యువర్ కాలేజ్ కాన్ టీచ్ యూ బిజినెస్. I told that your college, I thought that your college can teach me how to do business. I didn't knew that you can't teach me. Right. ఇంకో లెటర్ రాయి. వాడు అంటాడు అట్లా మేము నేర్పించగలుగుతాం, అయితే జాబ్ అడ్మిషన్. ఇట్ ఆల్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ ద వే యూ లుక్ ఎట్ థింగ్స్ అండ్ యువర్ పర్స్పెక్టివ్.
Right. So since we are talking about student community, what do you think are the main elements of building a student community? Like, how do you create an engagement, a growth, and then how do you monetize it, and how do you create engagement? Just a small glimpse for us.
See, for me, like, it's to be very honest, the 4 things which we are working on is, one is encouraging student entrepreneurs, because that itself will encourage this community. Hiring from the community by creating from the community.
Perfect.
So I wanted tomorrow this podcast should grow big. You guys should become a most cooler team, or we work hand in hand, we build the community together.
Right.
And you grow, I grow.
Perfect.
That's the culture that which I wanted to create, the first thing in the tribe. Second, we are talking about different career paths. A job or a higher education or whatever it is. That's what we are trying to advocate to people. Third, social responsibility. Fourth, we want to talk about what is the benefit that being part of a group.
Exactly.
If you are in a group, you can always get a great deal. Yeah.
So, keeping on the pace, for leaders out there, what advice do you have for them? For any leader, tech leader or anything, what is the advice that you have for them?
Someone is looking at you, behave well. Because if you are a leader, someone else is looking at you for inspiration. Someone is looking at you how to behave, how to talk, how to portray yourself. So if you behave well, at least you are inspiring someone.
Right. And also, since you're a huge leader, you'll have beef between two students or two departments. How do you manage it?
Am I a big leader? So the first thing is like no one should call themselves as a leader, because leader, you can't call yourself as a leader till other person calls you. So because leader ఎవడు గాడు అవతలోడు చేస్తాడు.
Correct.
సో ఎవడు నేను లీడర్ అని చెప్పుకున్నాడు ఎవడు ఆడు హ్యాపీ బర్త్డే ఫ్లెక్స్ చేసుకునే టైప్ ఆడు. ఆ ఫ్లెక్స్ కూడా వాడే ఇప్పించుకుంటాడు. హ్యాపీ బర్త్డే టు మీ, బై మీ, ఫ్రమ్ మీ అని పెట్టుకొని మళ్ళీ కింద 4 తలకాయలు పెట్టేసుకునేది. పైన వినాయక చవితి శుభాకాంక్షలు. సో వాడు ఏం చేయలేం. ద ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఇస్ ద డెఫినేషన్ ఆఫ్ ద లీడర్ ఇస్ ఓ చిన్న గల్లీలో ఉన్నాడు కూడా ఈ రోజుల్లో అందరు లీడరే.
రైట్.
ద ఫండా ఇక్కడ ఏంటి అంటే వాడు లీడర్ అనుకుంటే వాడు లీడర్ కాదు.
కరెక్ట్.
అండ్ కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ అనేది కూడా, కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ రిజల్యూషన్ అనే కాన్సెప్ట్ ఈజ్ అ వెరీ బిగ్ సబ్జెక్ట్. లైక్ the first quality that any leader should have is not to talk, to listen.
Perfect.
Inale vaadu, because the moment when you listen to people, you will be a good judge of it.
Right.
Malla judgmental, mental health and malla.
So this is the last question that we're going to ask. So you were talking about how you built a network when you were in college itself, right? So how did you exactly do it? Like what steps did you
There's
take?
no process to it. It's like I didn't stop meeting people and I didn't think that, okay, I'm meeting this person, what am I going to get today? Okay. If you stop thinking transactional with people, now ఇప్పుడు నేను podcast చేయాలి, ఈ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ సబ్స్క్రైబర్స్ ఎంత, వీడికి ఆల్రెడీ 1 million ఉన్నారా, ఇప్పుడు వీంది చేస్తే నాకేమన్నా వస్తుందా? ఐ డోంట్ కేర్. ఐ ఓన్లీ కేర్ స్పీకింగ్ మై హార్ట్ అవుట్, బికాజ్ ఓన్లీ వన్ పర్సన్ who nobody watches this video also, the person who is shooting feels and comes to me and he says, Anna, thank you Anna, nee valla manchiga indi ante, that's enough. You are one at a time.
Exactly.
సో అలానే నెట్వర్క్ బిల్డింగ్ కూడా నేను పెద్ద చేస్తా అంటే కాదు. ఫస్ట్ కొన్ని కలు వాంతో ఉన్నప్పుడు లివ్ ద మూమెంట్, రైట్? ఐఎమ్ లివింగ్ మై మూమెంట్ హియర్. ఐ డోంట్ గివ్ anything, I don't think about anything except talking to you now. That's how you build a network.
Right.
And you feel respected. Arey bhai dil khol ke baat kara rahe bhai, wo apna hai bhai bol ke. That's how we stay together and we talk to each other. And tomorrow any day you feel so comfortable texting me. Isla ana chepana idi nenu itla cheddam anukuntunna, mala dunyalo daawat ki pilusto ana pelli cheskuntunna, itla by mistake అయిపోతుంది. So it's like, that's how the bonds form and the network. కాంటాక్ట్ నుంచి కనెక్షన్కి పోతావు.
Perfect.
Because lot of people just remain as contacts in the mobile phone.
Right.
Or the connections on the social media. అయ్యో చచ్చిపోతే మళ్ళీ ఏదో ఒక రోజు రిప్ అని పెడతారు. మళ్ళీ తర్వాత మెల్లగా ఏం చేస్తారు, ఏమన్నా మరి డిలీట్ చేసేద్దాం, ఎట్టావు లేడు కదా ఆడు.
రైట్.
సో యాజ్ సింపుల్ యాజ్ దట్. అట్లీస్ట్ సోషల్ మీడియాన రిమెంబరింగ్ అని చేంజ్ చేసుకుంటారు. మనం అసలు రిమెంబర్ కూడా చేయము. బతుకున్న వాళ్ళ బర్త్డేలో గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటలేము, చచ్చిపోయిన వాళ్ళని గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటాము.
సో thanks a lot, Charan, for being here. And also guys, Prost is coming up on March 12th. Prost is the biggest student carnival of our state. It is happening at LB Stadium and the early bird passes are out there. I guess by the time we release it, the early bird will get over, but then please check out this site and please be here. This will be a very great opportunity for every student entrepreneur like us to network and meet the tech giants out there. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Charan.
Thank you.